forsaken 19th century mansion harbors angry spirits from the past.
There was definitely something there, and it felt like it didn't want us there.
Get out.
Rumors of a deadly love triangle.
The banker was having an affair with her. One of the speculations was that she was buried in the basement.
And a dark entity with the most evil of intentions.
Whatever it was wasn't human. It frightened me so bad. I can't even describe the terror.
Some houses are better left undisturbed. In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. In the heart of Decatur County lies the small town of Garden Grove, Iowa, where the Rice family, Norman, Jennifer, and son Andrew, has just purchased a 19th century Victorian mansion.
It wasn't hard to fall in love with. It was an amazing place, and I always said, you know, someday I'm gonna own you. Someday you're gonna be my house. I wanted to live there. It had everything that I ever wanted.
Better than the pictures?
It's incredible.
Just looking at the outside of the mansion, it's breathtaking. It has a commanding presence.
Hey, what do you think, Andrew?
We're gonna live here?
At that point, I would have been about 8, 9 years old. We were moving from a farm, and I was kind of excited, you know, new house. It was really big compared to our old one. It was really just a nice house. I'd never seen anything quite like it before.
Built at the turn of the century, the mansion was commissioned by an affluent businessman and his wife. Garden Grove was in its prime, having served as a shipping point on the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad.
Garden Grove, Iowa, back in the 1800s was the place to be. It was one of the major cities. There were several thousand people that lived there because the railroad came through. It had a nice, long downtown area with lots of shops and bakeries and haberdasheries. And so that's why they chose that, is it was a beautiful place, still country-like, but city-fied.
And Jennifer feels an instant connection to the house.
The house just kind of felt like it belonged to me, like I'd known it at some point in time. It drew you in.
But the picturesque mansion hides secrets from the past.
Come on!
Within these walls, it is rumored that an unspeakable horror took place.
Isn't it grand? I mean, look at all the details. Look at this staircase.
Very clearly, before we even moved in, we knew it was a money pit.
It's incredible, but don't get too crazy.
Norm, it's gotta be done right.
For the company I worked at, I actually got a lot of stock options. So we were kind of planning on using that money to put into the house. So we were fully prepared to dump a whole bunch of money into it.
I feel like I'm the one who was meant to restore it to its former glory.
Now, honey, I trust you. This is your passion. Be reasonable.
I think Norman, more than anything, just knew that I loved that house.
Are you sure you're okay with this?
Yeah, if you're happy, I'm happy.
In the months ahead, Norman spends most of his time working for a software company in Arizona, nearly 1,300 miles away. This leaves Jennifer alone to manage the big job of renovating the old house so that her family can move in.
With me being out of town, it kind of gave her something to do since we were apart 90% of the time, being in different states. Her being able to put all of her energy into restoring this house really gave her a sense of accomplishment.
Jennifer hires a main contractor named Claude and a few other workers to help realize her vision of the old Victorian mansion.
It was a mission for me. And I could just see what it should look like. And that's what I loved about having that house. I could just create it from basically the ground up into what it should be and what I loved. Claude was putting in a chandelier, and the ladder was shaking so hard, he wasn't sure if it was him shaking it or if there was something shaking it. You could tell he was just freaked.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know. I was pushed.
What do you mean? Who pushed you?
He never really told me what it was that happened. He just was very exaggerated in his speech and his nervousness.
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
I have to go.
He actually told me, I don't want to be in this house anymore.
Jennifer is stunned. It's as if Claude has just seen a ghost.
I told my wife I was gonna be working in this house. You know what she said? No, what? Stay out of the basement. What? Why? You know about the basement, right? No. That's where he buried her. Who? The servant. The woman he was having an affair with. She was pregnant, and he didn't want nobody to know. Then they had an argument. Then she fell down the stairs. He didn't want a scandal, so he buried her down there.
I think a lot of the creepiness and the fact it sat abandoned for so long, it sparked a lot of rumors. And the rumor was that the original owner buried her in the basement.
8-year-old Andrew's curiosity gets the better of him. First, he saw a man in the window, and now the scandalous rumor leads him to the basement.
I couldn't even fathom everybody knowing so much about a house that I had just moved into. But it was kind of cool at the same time. The feeling I got was immediately like someone had just dropped a bunch of bricks on me. It was just really heavy, dense air. It was kind of hard to breathe a little bit. I can remember it being damp. It literally smelled like wet dirt.
In 2001, Jennifer and Norman Rice, along with their 8-year-old son Andrew, moved to Garden Grove, Iowa, to restore their new home. The historic mansion is haunted by rumors dating back to the early 1900s of a suspicious death and a secret burial in the basement.
Rumors had spread around town like wildfire that a servant had broken her neck. Some had even speculated that the owner was having an affair with her. Since he was prominent, he couldn't have that kind of thing on his record. So one of the speculations was that she was buried in the basement. I never went back down to the basement again. I had thought maybe it was a skeleton grabbing me from underneath the ground. Maybe because I'd seen one too many horror movies as a kid.
By July 2001, the majority of the renovations on the house are complete, despite the fact that all of the contractors have deserted the job. With Andrew's father, Norman, frequently away on business, his mother has no choice but to finish the house on her own.
I remember her having so many stressful nights because we would bring in contractors to try to fix this place up, and they would just leave.
Jennifer suspects that it has something to do with the rumors surrounding the house, but she doesn't believe the old wives' tale.
It was somewhat unnerving, but it was an amazing house and it had amazing potential. And that's all I could think about for a while. It didn't matter what people said. There's always going to be rumors, especially in small towns. But as time wore on and some of the things that happened, I began to wonder. I started hearing noises I really couldn't explain.
Andrew?
Especially late at night. You don't really think things through. Some of it could be written off to being tired, late night. It's the creepy factor.
Sleep tight.
It is now the late summer of 2001. Norman is still working full-time 1,300 miles away in Arizona, while Jennifer and Andrew adjust to the family-friendly Garden Grove, Iowa area. One night, Andrew invites his friend Cody for a sleepover.
Ah, yes! Lightsaber. Seriously, Andrew? Why'd you push my truck out? Sorry. Cody?
I remember Cody, when I looked up at him, he just points at the top of the stairs. Next thing we know, he just vanished.
Where is he?
In the beginning, everything was roses.
Home sweet home.
You know, we'd spent all the time fixing the house up. But it didn't take too much longer after that to realize there was something off about the house. I chose to ignore a lot of things because I was elated and it was my dream.
By the summer of 2001, Jennifer Rice has completed renovations on an abandoned 19th century Victorian mansion in Iowa. And while the home's rumored history of a mysterious death merely lurks in the back of her mind, her son Andrew comes face to face with evil.
After that had happened, Cody had never spent the night again. And as a matter of fact, he really never even talked to me ever again.
Despite his terrifying encounter with the ghostly entity, Andrew decides not to tell his mother what he saw.
I didn't want to worry her because I didn't know how she really would react to it at the time. So I just avoided the subject altogether.
In September 2001, news that the once dilapidated mansion has been restored begins to spread through the small town of Garden Grove, Iowa.
We had people that would knock on the door. I'm sorry to bother you, but I've always loved this house. Or I knew so-and-so who lived here, and I always wanted to see this house. And we finally decided we would do an open house.
I just want to thank you for opening your house to all of us.
Oh, well, thank you for coming.
As we're doing tours, this sweet little old lady started telling me that she was so pleased to see somebody finally working on that house.
My great uncle is the banker who built this house.
And then she explained that she was the great niece.
I know he would be very pleased to see how you're caring for it.
She had watched over the years how people came and went and left it sit and rot. You could tell it broke her heart.
And he and his wife would have been very happy to see a child growing up here.
Oh, that's my son, Andrew. Please come in.
I have something for you.
The great niece brought a beautiful scrapbook full of pictures. And she showed us this picture, lovely picture about yay big, of the original owners.
Jennifer is struck by the image of the husband.
It was just an old black and white yellowed photo, but you could tell he had the palest blue eyes you've ever seen because you could barely see the pupils.
Then Jennifer suddenly recalls the rumors surrounding the man and the Victorian mansion.
Did you ever hear any of the rumors about this house?
That's what they are. Rumors. Don't believe everything you hear.
Of course not.
What happened was they married later in life.
Did they have any children?
They wanted children so badly.
So they didn't have children. And you can tell they planned on having children because there was a child's room adjoined to the master bedroom.
That's my son Andrew's room. Andrew, come here, sweetie. This nice lady was just telling me that her great uncle is the one who built our house.
Very pleased to meet you, Andrew.
You too.
Look at what she brought us.
As she's showing us all these pictures, I started realizing that I had seen the banker somewhere before. This is the man I saw the first time I went in the house. And then again at the top of the stairs.
I need to go help Dad.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what that was about.
Scared and confused, Andrew continues to keep his experiences to himself.
I was just in a kind of state of denial, really, because I just was thinking, oh, well, no, this is really happening. I just remember pushing it out to the side, pushing it off to the side, because I didn't want to even try to rationalize it. This was not something that I could just tell somebody, because unless you're there, you really can't fix it. So, I mean, I kept this to myself as best as I could.
For more haunting, visit destinationamerica.com. Since his terrifying encounter in the basement, 8-year-old Andrew Rice has felt an unsettling presence in his 19th century house in Garden Grove, Iowa.
At that point, it scared me so much. I would just go over to a friend's house, or I'd go walk down the street and go play at the park. You know, I just find any way to avoid the situation altogether.
But after seeing old photos of the original owner, a once prominent businessman, Andrew is now convinced that his ghost is haunting the home. His father, Norman, who is often away on business, is completely in the dark.
My job's extremely stressful, trying to do software development and traveling too, and so they wanted me to be more concentrated on my work and not have to really worry too much about the house itself. They didn't really talk to me about it at all.
A lot of times my dad was out of town, so he had no idea what was going on.
One night, Andrew has a new visitor.
When I looked up, I saw this lady just sitting in my rocking chair.
At first, Andrew is stunned at the sight, but then he recognizes who she is.
I had seen the lady somewhere before. It took me a minute, but then I realized it's the banker's wife.
Mom, I saw her. The woman in the photo, the banker's wife. She was sitting in the rocking chair in my room.
He said, I saw a ghost. He was very shaken up about it.
It's okay. Maybe you're just dreaming.
You can really scare yourself when you're alone by overthinking things. We were very used to being alone, and I think we tended to underthink things.
No, I'm serious. She looked exactly like the photo. It was her, and that's not all. I've seen the banker, too.
Maybe they're friendly ghosts. They always wanted to have children, and your bedroom was supposed to be the nursery. Maybe that's why they're drawn to you. Or that's why they come to you.
Mom had told me that she wasn't there to harm me, more so she was watching over me. So she just said, oh, don't worry about it.
You want to sleep in here tonight?
Despite Andrew's compelling tale, Jennifer isn't entirely convinced that the house is haunted.
I didn't want to believe that there was anything going on. I just didn't. I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn. And if I don't see it, it didn't happen.
It is now January 2002. Andrew and his mother have been living in the house for 7 months while his father is often away on business. But that winter, Norman returns to Garden Grove and is told nothing about his son's encounters with ghosts.
I'm so glad you're home.
It just wasn't something that came up, you know? I didn't really feel like starting a, gee, I think our house is haunted conversation.
But one night, a dark force decides to make its presence known.
Norman? Something picked us up, and we landed on the bed.
We were both wakened at the same time by some black entity, just some ominous presence.
What was that? You felt it too, right?
Yes.
There was no way to rationalize it. There was just no way. It was unexplainable. So that was the first time I hadn't been able to just explain it away.
This isn't something that happened by yourself. We're both sitting there talking about the same thing that just happened, so we know this was real. This was no dream.
And now, Jennifer can no longer deny the truth.
Norman, I have something to tell you. I think the house is haunted.
By what? Ghosts?
Yes. A banker and his wife. They lived here in the 19th century. Andrew's been seeing them.
Jennifer kind of starts hinting at things that had been happening to Andrew that I wasn't aware of.
There's a rumor around town. The banker had a servant girl who was pregnant.
I will have you thrown out and you'll starve in the streets.
She died here. And they buried her in our basement.
In our basement? Why'd you wait so long to tell me?
I thought if we ignored it, it would just go away. But now this, we both felt it. There's something here.
You just want to pack up and leave?
No.
There's nothing more to talk about, is there?
It made me feel like this is all my fault. But we didn't talk about it. It was frustrating, it was isolating. I felt alone because I didn't want to talk about it and stir it up.
But now that the secret is out, Norman begins to dread spending time in his new home, where he suddenly feels unwelcome.
You almost feel like you're going into a depression, thinking, okay, we've spent a lot of money on this house, and now do you want to admit that somehow a house can say, I don't want you here?
Although he doesn't believe in ghosts, Norman can't shake the unnerving feeling that he is not alone. And that something still lurks in the basement.
Walking in that basement for the first time, basements can be scary, and this one definitely was. It just kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies. There was some ominous mass there keeping the light from shining into the basement. It was like something just sucked the light out and it was pitch black. That had to be the most scared I ever was in that house.
For nearly a year and a half, the Rice family has been living in a haunted 19th century Victorian mansion in Iowa, plagued by dark secrets from the past. Their presence in the once abandoned house has stirred up angry ghosts still roaming the property. But that fall, a new evil spirit is unearthed from deep inside the house, and Norman has a terrifying encounter in the basement. Instantly, something in him begins to change. It's as if the evil force is taking over his body and his soul.
It felt like the longer I was in that house, just the more angry I could get at nothing. Anything at all could set me off. I don't know if it was the house changing me or was it just me.
As Norman became more agitated, more angry, more sullen, reclusive, the things in the house manifested more strongly.
It scared me. I was just getting numb to everything because it was just getting worse and worse. And at this point, I just started not feeling anything.
But fortunately, Norman's job soon takes him out of state on business for several weeks. His absence comes as a welcome relief.
I just knew that there wasn't going to be another day of yelling and screaming and wondering what was going to set him off. I was happy when he left. I mean, that's the very sad part.
But with or without Norman, little do his wife and son know. They are not safe. The evil spirit has been awakened.
We had just gotten home from Sunday church, and my friend from down the street, he would always call and leave me a message after he got off church so we could go hang out and play.
Honey, what are you doing? It's broken.
No, it's not.
It's not even plugged in.
The light was blinking, just like a normal, somebody left a message. So, I don't know why I did it, but I pushed the play button. Out of that came a noise, whatever it was wasn't human, but as I turned it up, you could hear very clearly.
You could tell its intention was to make us leave.
I was scared. At that point in time, I was scared.
Terrified, Jennifer reaches out to her last resort, the church. Weeks later, a group of parishioners arrive to conduct a house blessing. The evil immediately lures them to the basement.
In the name of Jesus Christ, we dedicate this home as a sacred edifice.
They were around the basement, leaning inward with their Bibles while they were praying.
Lord, we ask that you protect this home so that Norman, Jennifer, and Andrew Rice can worship and grow spiritually in peace. Amen.
Amen.
Afterwards, the parishioners retreat. They do not speak about their experience.
They were very visibly upset. They did not want to talk about it.
The house blessing is now complete, and Jennifer has faith that it will make a difference.
I honestly believed that it would be better. I really did, because he picked the strongest people in our church, the most steadfast people I knew. I was very hopeful.
I had felt maybe it could get better, but at the same time, after going through that for so many months, I had learned just not to get my hopes too far up.
With her husband Norman out of town, Jennifer tries to remain strong for Andrew.
Norman?
My mind is like, what? I know he is not here.
Norman, is that you? Norman?
For well over 2 years, angry ghosts and an evil spirit have been haunting the Rice family in their 19th century Victorian home in Garden Grove, Iowa. In the fall of 2003, while her husband Norman is out of town, Jennifer wakes to the sound of heavy footsteps in the hall.
Norman, is that you? Norman?
I saw that thing. I didn't know what it was, and then it looked at me. I can't move. It's gonna get me. I'm feeling like I'm gonna die of a heart attack. I can't even describe the terror. I knew then that it could create whatever it wanted to scare us.
But this new entity is just starting its reign of terror. And soon, it targets the weakest member of the family.
When I looked up, the best way to describe this, I saw this Batman almost. It was just this huge black form. I feel this presence enclosed around me. It was just strong, and I knew that if I had struggled, it would have just tightened his grip even more.
All I want to do is get to Andrew. That's my first thought. I gotta get Andrew and run. I want to get out of here. I want out.
Come on, baby. Come on.
She didn't even grab her shoes. She just picked me up. We ran out the door.
Come on, Andrew. Come on, sweetie. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay.
I was too scared to look in the back seat, in the rearview mirror, because I was afraid that thing was in the car with us.
Sorry, sweetie.
That was it. I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. We needed to sell it. and move.
Finally, in November 2004, after 3 years of terror, the Rice family sells the 19th century Victorian mansion.
I was heartbroken, naturally. It was my dream. But I knew my family just had been through enough. So I had to say, sorry and start all over again.
We admitted defeat. We were cutting our losses, but then after we sold the house, and even now today, I'm glad that we did. It seems like getting out of that house played a big role in getting our family back on the right track. Family is definitely more important than any house.
After we sold the house, everything seemed to return to normal. Where we lived was just a nice, calm little house that didn't have any worries, and my dad just started feeling my dad again.
Still, even years later, Jennifer is unable to let go, wanting answers about her family's terrifying ordeal.
It had been probably 5 years. I just guess I wanted to find out whether or not this really was just about my family or was it related to the house. So I knocked on the door, nobody was there.
And to this day, Jennifer has not been able to determine if the new family has experienced anything paranormal. What happened to the Rice family in Garden Grove? And what, if anything, lies buried in the basement remains a mystery.
I think that thing saw a source of power that it could draw from. I was feeling fear, my mom was feeling stress, my dad was feeling anger. All those are negative, and it gave it something to feed off of.
I think that the worst of it came from the turmoil in the family. This thing, whatever it was in the house, had to break us up. It had to get between us.
I just hope that no one else ever has to go through the same thing that we did.
Boy comes across an abandoned shack in rural Maryland.
After we found that building, everything changed.
And stumbles upon a portal to an evil world.
Hail Satan!
For years, a demon threatens to devour him, body and soul, until he reaches his breaking point.
I was in constant fear. It was controlling me. It wanted me to die.
Can he be saved? Or will he be lost forever? In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. In Maryland, far from cities like Annapolis and Baltimore, there are fields and forests where a boy can still explore like frontiersmen of old.
Odington was in the middle of nowhere. It was right back in the middle of the woods.
In the summer of 2003, 12-year-old John Drenner Jr. ventures into the forest behind his grandmother's home. Cheryl, his 14-year-old sister, leads the way.
John, come on, I'm not waiting for you. Keep up. I'm coming.
Me and my sister Cheryl were inseparable. My sister, she was always the outgoing one, very outspoken. I was more of the follower.
John and I would always go in the woods to play. We would go on nature hunts, look for animals, things like that. We like to explore.
But there are certain mysteries better left undisturbed.
One day we found an old abandoned building.
As we walked closer to it, we started getting this weird feeling about it, like we shouldn't be there.
I definitely had an eerie feeling. Something was just telling me don't go near it. It was spooky.
John, what are you doing? Get away from there.
Come on, this is cool.
No way.
I decided that I was going to be the brave one and venture inside. She was always the one that was making the good choices, where I really wasn't.
John, come on, I want to go.
Okay, I'm coming. Wait up. There's something here.
In one of the corners, I found a book. It had an upside-down cross on it.
At first, the book appears harmless, but then it evokes a darkness.
Cleanse yourself of malignant and pent-up emotions.
Hail Satan.
Why should I not hate my enemies?
Hail Satan.
And I just started getting this heaviness in my chest, and it felt like I couldn't breathe. And it was just this scary feeling.
Cheryl!
I ended up throwing the book
Wait up!
because it scared me so bad.
Wait up!
Suddenly, John gets the feeling he's being followed.
I just started hearing this incoherent whispering, and I knew it was coming from the woods.
John tries to forget about his terrifying experience in the shack. That summer, John spends weekends at his grandmother's house. One night, Cheryl hears disturbing noises coming from John's room.
Hey, it's late. I can hear you all the way out in the hall. John, who are you talking to?
It sounded like he was speaking in another language. It wasn't English. I couldn't understand him. And when he finally stopped talking, his nose started bleeding.
John! John, you okay? Oh my gosh, your nose is bleeding. You okay?
What's going on?
I don't know. You're okay. You'll be fine. You're fine.
The next morning, John's mother and stepfather arrive to take him to his home 12 miles away in Pasadena, Maryland. John tries to put the bizarre incidents of the last few days behind him.
How was the weekend?
It's good.
Until his sister brings them up.
It would have been better if John hadn't started acting all weird.
Jeez, Cheryl.
Ever since you went in that creepy building in the woods.
I told you kids to stay out of the woods.
The woods are said to harbor dark secrets. Local legend has it that satanic rituals took place there.
Everyone in the neighborhood said, don't go near the Devil's Church. Whenever someone who's gone by there either got killed on the nearby train tracks or something horribly bad happened to them.
But although John's mother has heard the rumors, she doesn't put much faith in them.
They're just rumors, Mom.
My opinion of the paranormal was it was about as legitimate as the Easter Bunny.
But her son John is about to find out just how true rumors can be. A few nights later, John is at home with his mom and stepdad when he suddenly hears something odd.
I had heard scratching on the house and in the walls and outside of the house. And then I started hearing banging on the walls. It sounded like somebody was punching the walls right next to me. I just tried to ignore it, and that's when my bed shook. It was a very violent shaking. It felt like an earthquake.
But then, from the darkness, it's the summer of 2003 in Odenton, Maryland. Ever since John Drenner Jr. discovered a mysterious book in the woods near his grandmother's home, he can't shake the feeling that an unseen evil lurks in the shadows, watching him.
There was something happening, something going on. The first time that I heard the whispering in the woods, I knew there was just something off about it. I knew there was something wrong, and it scared me.
Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
Cheryl worries about the sudden change she sees in her little brother.
He was scared to tell me. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how I could help.
You okay?
What's going on?
You're okay. You'll be fine.
But the night comes when John meets the dark force face to face.
He was about 7 to 8 feet tall, black and shaped like a person.
Honey, what's wrong? What is it, honey?
I saw something.
What did you see? What?
It's gone.
Okay. What was it?
It looked like a man.
John told me that he heard scratching noises like someone was trying to get into the room. He complained of seeing shadows, of seeing the monster.
Okay, John, there isn't a man. It was probably a light from a passing car. Okay?
I just thought he was scared, maybe heard a noise. It was his imagination.
Do you want me to stay with you for a bit? Yeah?
She told me that I was just having a nightmare, that I needed to go back to bed. My mother really wasn't the religious type. She looked at everything from an analytical aspect, science. If she couldn't see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, it wasn't real.
Night after night, the same creature pays John a visit.
I started sleeping with the blanket over my head so I couldn't see it.
John's mother decides to bring him to a child psychologist.
After so many nights, I contacted an institute that would diagnose and treat John for whatever was ailing him.
My mom always thought that there was something psychological going on with John.
John was diagnosed first with having night terrors, and they gave him medication, but said eventually he would grow out of it.
I knew that what was happening to me was real. It wasn't something that was in my mind.
Things appear to calm down for a while, until one weekend when they are back at their grandmother's house, Cheryl finds John acting strangely.
I was in the kitchen eating breakfast one morning.
No. No.
And I heard John in the living room talking to someone, so I wandered in there to see who he was talking to.
No. No, I can't. I don't want to do that. I won't.
John. Who are you talking to?
You're not supposed to be here.
And he was sitting in the corner, just talking to the corner.
He says, you're not supposed to be here.
He was awake. He was like he was having a conversation with whoever he was talking to.
Grandma? Something's wrong with John.
John, are you okay?
But John is not okay as he finally emerges from his trance.
It's bleeding. Just like before.
I was terrified for him.
John, what's going on with you?
I don't know what's happening to me. It won't leave me alone.
I had talked to my grandmother and told her about everything that was happening. I said, this man, he's tormenting me. She hugged me and said, I'm gonna take care of this for you.
A few days later, John's grandmother decides to take action. She places religious articles in John's room at her house, hoping they'll protect him.
Our grandmother was religious. She would read us the Bible. She believed John. She thought that there was something spiritual going on.
I was very hopeful that, that would at least stop it. That would create a safe zone for me.
I don't think it helped.
The crucifix at his grandmother's house only seems to be making things worse.
The very next night, this entity was there. Using the crucifixes was just making it mad. It wasn't doing anything to protect me.
A few nights later, when he's back home with his mom and stepdad, John senses the evil force is back.
That night, I just laid down to close my eyes and I heard a knock in the corner of my room. It was the shadow entity. I was paralyzed with fear.
When he was just a boy, John Drenner Jr. unwittingly uncovered an evil force in an abandoned shack, rumored to be the site of satanic gatherings.
Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
Since then, a malevolent entity has followed him, cornering him in his bedroom at home in Pasadena, Maryland.
At this point, I am terrified. I am absolutely terrified of not knowing what is going to happen next.
Night after night, the dark figure torments John in his bedroom, the one place where he should feel safe. And as time wears on, the entity grows bolder and more grotesque.
I couldn't move, I couldn't scream. I could just look at it. It's emptiness in its eyes. It just absolute evil.
No!
John has run to his mom and stepdad for help many times, even though they believe he is just suffering from night terrors. But that night, John's cries go unanswered.
I started banging on my parents' door to wake up and help me. This thing was going to hurt me. I felt like it was going to kill me. And I'm banging on the door for about 5 minutes and nothing.
Open the door!
Honey, I'm gonna go downstairs. Can I get you anything?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Hey, buddy. Shouldn't you be in bed?
Why wouldn't you open the door? I've been pounding and screaming to get you to wake up.
But they weren't ignoring him. They never even heard him.
Buddy, we've been awake the whole time, and we never heard anything. You never made a sound.
I didn't know what to think. That honestly scared me even worse.
Come on, let's go back to bed. It's all right.
The only thing I could do was comfort him. At that point, after all the other steps I had taken, the only thing I could do was to be there for my son. I was looking for a logical reason for everything and a logical way to fix things, but there was nothing that I could do to stop the occurrences that were happening.
Frustrated that his mother and stepfather don't believe him, John pulls away from his family.
He started shutting everyone out. He shut me out. He shut our grandmother out. He was angry.
I was completely alone in this. Nobody could understand or believe what they couldn't see or feel for themselves. And it was a complete and total nightmare for me.
John finds solace in the company of friends who take his fears seriously. One night, they play with fire when they attempt to contact the evil entity to help rid John of his tormentor.
Aren't you supposed to ask it something?
Oh, yeah.
I decided to tell one of my friends about what was going on.
Is there anybody here with us?
He had said, well, I have a spirit board. We can use it and find out what it wants, and then it'll leave you alone.
It's not working.
Why are you messing with John?
I had no idea what it was or how it worked or anything like that, because I'd never really messed with him before.
It's not working.
Guess not. I'll be right back.
Here, let me try.
My one friend got up to use the bathroom.
What happened?
Something grabbed my leg in there.
He said, I felt something touch my leg.
Let's go. Roger.
Wait, don't go.
John now knows for certain that the evil entity is not just in his imagination.
It was a massive turning point in my life when my friends had experienced something. It was like this sense of relief. Somebody else has seen it as well.
But at the same time, John has no idea that he has just invited evil deeper into his life. And things are about to get a lot worse.
That's weird.
I felt this heaviness in my chest again. I knew it was around.
We are Legion.
It said, "We are Legion, and we will never leave."
Wait! A miracle.
For the past few years, John Drenner Jr. has been battling a malevolent, demonic force hell-bent on taking over his body and his soul. It all started after he unknowingly encountered the entity in an abandoned shack in the Maryland woods.
Indulgence instead of abstinence.
Rumored to be the site of satanic worship.
Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
One night, after using a spirit board, John has a close encounter with his tormentor.
Who are you?
We are Legion.
Wait!
It was just this deep, grovelly, bass-type voice. It just literally radiated through your whole body.
Then, the sinister force attacks.
And I could feel its breath on my face. It was trying to choke me to death. I felt like it was going to kill me.
But no one comes to his aid. John manages to escape the clutches of the evil entity, but knows it's only a matter of time before it strikes again. With family and friends unable to help him in his fight, John conducts research to try to understand what he's up against.
It was attacking me. And at this point, I was really in fear for my life. Nobody believed me when I told them. They just thought I was crazy.
Suddenly, John comes across an image of an upside-down cross, nearly identical to the one he saw on the book in the woods. It's a symbol often used by devil worshippers.
Hail Satan! Why should I not hate my enemies? Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
It all begins to make sense. Somehow, a demonic entity attached itself to John in the shack that day. And now, it won't let him go.
I think the entity was trying to push me to the point where I would kill myself. It wanted me to die so it could collect my soul.
And John has no idea how to rid himself of it. Since he was a boy, John Drenner Jr. has been battling a demonic force. Now 19 years old, he's living on his own in Glen Burnie, Maryland, not far from his family home. Frightening visions and voices plague him nightly with no end in sight.
I had tried to kill myself a few times. I was tired of dealing with this, and I was tired of fighting this by myself.
John has found himself increasingly isolated from those he loves. His mother.
I did try to figure out what was wrong with John. It was so extremely frustrating. You can't stop something that you can't see, that you can't hear, that you can't feel. You need something tangible.
And his sister.
It was very frustrating to be shut out of his life. I got married and moved farther away. I just kind of wrote it off as he'll talk to me when he's ready.
That summer, a ray of sunshine pierces through John's dreary existence. Her name is Mary Segura.
I can't believe I'm really here.
I know, neither can I.
I met John when me and my sister decided to go to the mall. John and his friend was upstairs,
And he kind of looked down at me, and I kind of looked down on him. He had those beautiful eyes, those green eyes.
After dating a year, they've made the decision to live together.
Is that it? The last box?
Last one.
We had that instant connection. I just knew.
All this time, John has managed to keep his dark secret from his girlfriend. But their blissful life together is about to take a tragic turn.
I didn't tell Mary what was happening to me because I didn't want her to think that I was a whack job, and I didn't want her to just leave me.
John has no idea that the demon is no longer just after him. It now seeks to intimidate his girlfriend. A few weeks after moving in, Mary begins to feel a presence other than John in their home.
I felt like someone was watching me, but I knew that nobody was home. It's the worst feeling you can ever possibly have.
When he was a boy, John Drenner Jr. uncovered an evil entity in the woods of Maryland. Since the moment the demon attached itself to him, it has tormented John relentlessly.
At this point in my life, at 19 years old, I just assumed that I was going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life. It was a sense of hopelessness, and it made things a lot harder for me, knowing that I wasn't ever going to be freed from this. I was just going to spend the rest of my life in hell.
John's been dating his girlfriend Mary for the past year, but until she moves in with him, she has no idea he's being pursued by a demon. One day, Mary senses its presence.
It's the worst feeling, knowing that something's not behind you, but you can feel it. You can feel something breathing, looking at you, but when you turn back, nothing's there.
Oh my God, you just scared me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I've been having this creepy feeling all day.
Creepy.
Yeah. It's nothing.
He just said, oh, it's just a weird feeling. It's just probably my imagination. I'm getting used to having someone else live with me.
I had the feeling that she knew something was going on, but she didn't know what.
For the next few days, John continues to hide the truth from Mary, until she begins to sense a change in him.
Throughout the days, he would be sweet and loving. Then all of a sudden you say one thing and he snapped. It was aggressive.
Hey, did you mail the rent check?
I will.
Okay, when?
I will. I'm trying to read.
I just don't want to have to pay a late fee, and then there's like charges.
I said I will.
What's wrong with your eyes?
What do you mean?
The eyes were black, frightening. It wasn't my John. Something else was taking over his body and his soul.
Mary. Why don't you come out, Mary? Mary.
John.
Come here.
Oh, John. Oh, John. Oh my God, your eyes. They're so terrible.
There's something I need to tell you. It's okay.
He started to tell me everything about his life and dealing with this demonic thing.
Ever since I was a kid, it's tortured me and it's followed me. I thought it was over. I thought it was gone, and the last thing that I wanted was for anything to happen to you. I'm sorry.
I didn't know what to think. Either A, he's crazy, or B, he really needs help. That's a lot to take in, and for a minute there, he kind of had me in shock.
I was sure that she was going to leave me.
Okay. Okay, hon, we'll work on this together.
Mary convinces John he needs help from a higher power.
I figured, well, let's try to go to some churches to see if they can help. None of it was working. All the ones that we went to, either they turned us down or they just didn't want to deal with it.
One night, John has a disturbing dream, an omen of more bad things to come.
Mary? Mary? Mary?
When I looked up, I had seen that the sky was blood red. There were these black things flying around in a circle. In the middle of the sky was this red sun, what looked like a swirling portal.
It's just a nightmare.
It was frustrating. I couldn't do anything to help the love of my life. And I suffered every time he had a nightmare, every time he had a vision. I suffered because that was me feeling hopeless.
But John's nightmares are not the only thing Mary will suffer. The demon is not finished with her yet. The next night, while John is working a night shift, Mary finds herself alone.
It was pitch dark. Turned on my cell phone. It was full battery. There was no way that it could just die.
No, come on.
For years, John Drenner Jr. has been plagued by an unrelenting demon that seeks to possess him. And now it seeks to scare off his girlfriend.
It was pitch dark. Turned on my cell phone. It was full battery. Turned on the light so I can see. And all of a sudden, battery drained. And my heart started racing. The figure was face to face to me. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do, but just stand there and shake. I've never experienced anything like this before. Anything.
And just as suddenly, the demon disappears. John now knows the entity will stop at nothing to destroy him and isolate him from the people who care about him.
This shadow entity was gaining power, and it wanted complete and total control.
In February of 2012, a friend puts John in touch with Bill Bean, an ordained deliverance minister, similar to an exorcist, but not affiliated with the Catholic Church.
John said, I think I found our solution.
At this point, I was willing to try anything to make this end.
Please help us.
I will. Come closer.
When John came to meet with me, I immediately sensed the presence of evil that was upon him. I could see the demon that was behind his eyes, absolutely could see it.
Bill believes John first came into contact with the demon in childhood, and now, years later, it's on the verge of taking possession of him.
Son, I believe a demon attached to you when you were a child.
I felt that John was strongly demonically oppressed or possibly even possessed. Demonic oppression is the beginning stages of possession. The person becomes introverted, withdrawn from family members and friends. They start to have a negative outlook on everything.
John, you need a prayer of deliverance. Now.
Deliverance is similar to an exorcism. In John's case, it was severe. Steps had to be taken right then and there.
And something in me kept telling me, don't do it.
But with nowhere else to turn, John wills himself to go through with it.
Amen.
I forced myself to take his hand.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Suddenly, the evil John encountered so long ago lashes out.
Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence.
Hail, Satan. He restoreth my soul.
Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit.
I take power and authority over this demonic spirit in the name of God. I cast you out, spirit.
I said, do you renounce Satan and all of his works?
Yes, I do. I cast you out, spirit. Cast you out!
I remember just coming to, looking him in the eye, and it felt like the weight of the world was lifted off of me.
Is it over? Is it really over?
It was the most amazing feeling that I have ever felt in my life.
I think it is.
At that moment, I got my John back. John today is loving, sweet. I definitely feel that the situation made him a stronger, more outgoing person.
You love
it. I do.
You love it.
Eventually, John reestablishes ties with his sister and mother.
Whatever.
When my brother came back into my life, he was happy again, and we're working and growing our relationship every day.
John's mother, a paranormal skeptic, is still devoted to science and logic.
He's like, Mom, can you explain what happened to me? I can't explain. And I said, it doesn't matter. I found my solace and comfort knowing that my son was finally free and happy.
Thank you.
John now works as Bill Bean's apprentice, helping other people overcome demonic oppression. This is risky work, but John believes it is his calling.
I had a dream one night that I was helping people. And I said, you know what? I need to face my fears. I know what it's like to be in hell. I know what it's like to be tormented for years. It was time for me to help pull other people from the darkness.